Happy Monday morning, everyone. And I hope everybody in the United States, anyway, is not too hungover from the ball game. There was a certain kind of ball game that was played yesterday. I have to confess that my tarot predictions of the winner uh, was wrong, was incorrect. Shame on me. When Constance did her oracular chicken pick of a Super Bowl winner about, I don't know, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, she got it right. So the DuQuettes are 50-50. Don't trust our predictions, okay? Or don't trust mine anyway. In any event, I hope you were all happy with the results. I'm going to do something every day or every morning. We watch the replay of several of the late night comedians, and it's sort of we watch it after we watch Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. And as much as we love that and appreciate the being informed on world and national events, they can get pretty depressing, pretty scary and depressing. And so we like to watch the late night comedians, and it sort of cheers us up. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because one time in my career so far, I've been asked to be the master of ceremonies and introduce famous authors. Now, it was 20 years ago, in 2004, I wrote this book, The Book of Ordinary Oracles. And by the time it got published and printed and released, it was 2005. Now, in 2005, the International Trade Show, INATS, had one of their bi-yearly conventions in Denver. Okay, and I like to go to those if at all possible, and if my publisher invites me to go, I usually try to show up and shamelessly self-promote my books. And as you can imagine, publishers enjoy authors who love to shamelessly promote. And so I'm just kind of that way, you know. But besides, I've made no other provisions for my family's future. So if I don't toot my own horn, who's going to? So I showed up to INATS, and the publisher, Weiser, my publisher Weiser, had a nice hotel room for me and everything. And we went out to dinner, the Weiser people and a couple of Weiser authors. We went out to dinner in Boulder, and had just a wonderful, wonderful evening of socializing and laughing and giggling, and they said there was going to be an INET's luncheon banquet the following day, and the all of the presentations and everything stop, and there's a big luncheon, and that's where everybody gathers. It has to be in the biggest space the convention center has, because hundreds and hundreds of tables set up. all manned or womaned by bookstore owners and other publishers, but mostly bookstore owners because they go to iNets to order their kind of yearly make their yearly orders. So I was going to go to that because it was a free lunch. But at our dinner in Boulder, someone at Weiser asked me if I would like to MC or be the master of ceremonies of the speaking event, because there were going to be four very famous authors that each had 20 minutes to speak, and they needed somebody to introduce them and say things in between the speeches and things like that. And somebody said, "Well, Lon's a ham; he can do it," you know. And so yes, I am a ham. So and what else did I have to do for lunch? So they gave me the organizers, of course, gave me the list of the authors who were going to speak and who I'd need to introduce. And they each gave me one of their books. So there were three main ones. And so they gave me copies of their books, and I was supposed to skim through them the night before, read what I could, guess what I couldn't, but just give me enough to have something to say, you know. And believe it or not, and I sort of typed up a little something. I didn't type it up, actually. I wrote it out in notes and things, and what I didn't do from notes, I did off the top of my head. And then I discovered that every table had a gift bag, okay? And in the gift bag, every one of the gift bags included a copy of my book. That was my reward for volunteering to do that thing. And I ran across my my speech notes that when I got home, I typed them out so I could save them. And would you like to hear what I said 19 years ago when I attempted to shamelessly promote this book by being MC at, I believe it was the 2005 INATS, International Trade Show in Denver. Okay, the people I'm introducing are Dick Sutphin. I think that's how it's pronounced. Dick Sutphin. Sandra Ray and Dan Millman. I have to say that the luncheon started a half an hour late because somebody's speech ran over. Okay, so, but anyway. And the distributor, okay, it was not only Weiser, but it was, it was Aleem and the people at New Leaf Distributing that asked me. I stand corrected here. My memory stands corrected. Don't worry, I'm not running for president. So it's the good people at New Leaf Distributing, the largest New Age distributor in the world, okay? Let me begin by saying how happy I am to be part of New Leaf's historic celebration I think it was also their 100th year or 50th year anniversary, too. Happy, not only because it gives me this wonderful opportunity to shamelessly promote my newest book, and of course, I held it up, but because I'm profoundly mindful of what a privilege it is to be asked to introduce tonight's luminary authors. Now, I'm just a simple country metaphysician, and it's not at all a case of false modesty when I confess that the stature of tonight's lineup makes me feel sort of like the fourth wise man, whose gift was a honey-baked ham. Now that I think of it, ham was exactly the word Judith and Ginger used when they invited me to be here tonight. For as old as I am, I've been in the book writing business for only 15 years. Okay, so let's just add another 25 to that. And for those 15 years, New Leaf has been one of the foremost distributors of my wares. Thank you guys for keeping me on your shelves. And then I would say, did I tell you I've written a new book? And then I reminded them it's in their bag. Boom. For the most part, I write stuff that's a little on the esoteric and spooky side, magic and tarot and Kabbalah and such. I write about those things because they're subjects I enjoy and know quite a bit about. My newest book, however, did I tell you I've written a new book? Okay. Now, at first, that started to irritate them when I repeatedly did it. But then I could sense that they, as I continued my talk, I sensed they were all listening for me to have the opportunity to do it again. And it became funnier and funnier. My newest book, however, is a little different, and I hope you all have one in your gift bag. It's called The Book of Ordinary Oracles, and my publisher and I are both convinced that lots of people are going to buy my book, perhaps even some people that I don't know personally. The Book of Ordinary Oracles shows you how to make yourself a bona fide fortune teller just by using stuff you got laying around the house. Coins, chopsticks, Scrabble tiles, even your television remote. I call that one the couch potato oracle. Actually, the Book of Ordinary Oracles is the ideal book because after they buy it, your customers don't even have to read it. Well, I'm only half kidding. The book is designed to be an oracle itself. Just ask your question, close your eyes, and open it at random. And I held this up. We've put 212 oracular answers on the margin of every page, sort of like a huge magic 8-ball. Now, just before I was introduced, I asked the Book of Ordinary Oracles, how will I do at tonight's New Leaf dinner? I randomly flipped open to page 171. The oracle answered, "It will feel so good when it stops." It really did, unlike my Super Bowl prediction. Well, hopefully it'll feel pretty good before it stops also. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the Book of Ordinary Oracles. And we'll put a stack of them right up front by the cash register. Okay, Dick Sutphin. Like me, our first guest was raised in Nebraska and moved to California. I don't know about him, but for me, California felt so good when Nebraska stopped. Brr-bump. Dick Sutphin has established distinguished careers in advertising, audio publishing, but most know him as the best-selling author and one of America's foremost psychic researchers. His 1978 book, Past Lives, Future Loves, he identified a sleepy little town near Phoenix as a psychic vortex area and triggered a spiritual gold rush that turned Sedona, Arizona into a New Age Mecca. He's a renowned hypnotherapist, lecturer, and author of more than 20 books, including the million-copy bestseller, You Were Born Again to Be Together, in which he explored the concept of destiny through romantic relationships. His newest offering, Soul Agreements, which he penned with his wife Tara, Dick again explores the idea of destiny and the role that past life karma plays in our everyday lives. This time, his investigations expand to a variety of fascinating cases, illustrating how soul agreements work and how each of us can develop the awareness necessary to override fate and create our own reality of love. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dick Sutphin. How was that? How was that for just bullshitting? Okay, when he was through, and he was really good. Okay, all of them were really good. I truly was the biggest putz on the platform. And when I came back on to introduce Sandra Ray, I held up the book and said, our next guest is Sandra Ray. Oh, did I remind you that I've written a book? Okay. Sandra Ray. Sandra Ray is truly a remarkable woman, a pioneer of the rebirthing movement, a teacher, seminar leader, and devoted student of spiritual disciplines. She's truly a spiritual world citizen whose quests have taken her around the globe. In her newest book, Pele's Wish, Sandra takes us to Hawaii and explores the kahuna teachings as she and her guide, Pua'ani Mahoe, adventure through volcanoes and the underground visionary wonders of the sacred Vagina Cave. I paused like that. Maho writes in her foreword to Pele's Wish, through the experiences we've shared at the Vagina Cave, I came to see my friend Sandra not only as a spiritual seeker, but as a genuine teacher who serves as a valuable bridge between cultures. Through her comes a vision of how we are all truly linked as one, and that each of us has a direct access to the divine through teachings that ultimately have no social or ethnic boundaries. Best-selling author Marianne Williamson writes of it, Pele's Wish continues to be the bold, wonderful saga of Sandra Ray's journey into spirit. She makes everything we long for seem possible. We're very lucky to have her in our midst, unquote. We are indeed very lucky to have her with us tonight. Please welcome the ambassador of Aloha, quote, Sandra Ray. Okay, when she was through, and she was magnificent, by the way. I came back on just holding my book up. I didn't say anything. Dan Millman. Dan's quite an athlete, okay, and there was a grand piano on the stage there with us, and when he came up uh, after I introduced him, he came up and he put the lid of the grand piano down, and he effortlessly, in one wonderful, graceful movement, hopped up on the lid of the piano and did a full handstand, which seemed and held it for what seemed to be about 5 minutes. Okay, as the place just went crazy. Okay, these are tough acts to follow. Okay, but when I finally introduced him, Dan Millman. Those of you who are familiar with my work know that I'm a magician. Not the type of magician who masters the technical skills to make an elephant disappear or saw a woman in half, but the type of magician who seeks to master the spiritual skills necessary to make personal illusions and ignorance disappear. For the spiritual magician, everything is magic, and every experience and perception is a direct communication from the divine consciousness to the soul of the magician. I'm telling you this because I believe I received one of those direct communications from the pages of a novel written by our next guest. I took Dan Millman's newest book with me on a trip to London, and that was just happened to actually happen. On a trip to London and Oslo. It's called The Journeys of Socrates. While I waited at the gate to board the plane in Los Angeles, I was suffering from a nasty case of traveler's anxiety about what might be in store for me during my month abroad. To calm my nerves, I cracked open Dan's book, and my eyes fell on the opening epigraph. It was a quote from Martin Buber. And, like magic, it handed me in so many words one of those direct communications of God to my soul. Quote, "Every journey has a secret destination of which the traveler is unaware." Indeed it does. And in the journeys of Socrates, Dan takes us all on a special journey whose secret destination is one each of us must discover for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome author and best-selling Way of the Peaceful Lover, Mr. Dan Millman. Okay, that's how I handled my MC job. I know it wasn't great literature or even very funny, but I threw it together really fast. And it allowed me to mention that I've written a book. Until tomorrow, which will be a parking lot Tuesday, so it may start a little late or even a little early. But anyway, Constance and I will both be with you tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.